Gate, Point Grey and Cherry and Teresa, who I'm obsessed with as well. Like, this is a dream team already. So there were a lot of things in the original script actually that didn't make it to the final. I think there was Water Buffalo.
Definitely Water Buffalo.
There was Water Buffalo at a point. And I remember Lolo actually had a scene where she was like naked with paint all over her.
Yes,
lots
there
of
was.
different.
So I was very prepared to do that. Like the original draft, I was like, I've been dying to get naked on the screen. No one will have me.
We're too expensive.
No one will have me. But honestly, it was just so refreshing because this film has never been done. Like truly, I always say it, but it's the first of its kind. You've never seen just raunchiness and so much heart with these faces. Every single character has an arc. Like even with the K-pop stuff, we're literally acting within acting. Like we never get to show so much range and get to have so much fun to play. But the whole process, it was just so cool. With Steph, Ash, Sabrina, the fact that we got to do it together. There were rounds and rounds of auditions, and at a certain point, it was like, oh, I need to be a part of this. So being here is really surreal.
Yeah, I feel like we grew up on these types of comedies. I loved hard R's as soon as I was old enough to go, legally, but then I would always sneak into them as well. And I remember I've been reflecting a lot about Waterboy recently. Like I loved Adam Sandler, and I remember seeing Waterboy and like being so jealous I didn't have a penis because I wanted to pee my name on a wall so badly. And I grew up on sick, disgusting shit. And so I feel like I have been waiting for an opportunity to get to unleash that way. And growing up in high school and everything, when we were sort of in the peak era of like comedies and hard comedies, people in high school would say like, oh, you should work with Judd Apatow one day, or you should work with Seth Rogen. And I'd be like, okay, I would see what it would look like if I were in that type of movie, and it wasn't like this. So the moment that this honestly came across to all of us, I think we were all so game, so ready, so down to just go hard, because that is the genre, and it's so fun, and we just want an excuse to get to play too.
We had so much fun. I'm going to talk forever. Last bit. In 1980, I'm an immigrant, and I just want to say thank you, I guess, in front of all these people for choosing us to bring this to life, because Lolo is the most liberated version of myself that I've ever portrayed. And there was so much trust on set between the four of us, actresses and actors, and the creators and writers and director, because with that safe space of like people who are behind this film with the authentic experience, there's that like feeling of home, and so we didn't feel pressure to like or anxiety about speaking up. We could just play.
And we also knew that we weren't going to be made fun of, that we were just making fun of ourselves, and that was so delicious.
Yeah, so delicious.
Oh, and just to add one last thing, like
it was a yes or no question.
and just to make it longer, we were the lucky ones because like they showed up like fully formed. Like these characters weren't just like on the page waiting to be brought to life by them. They brought the life to it. I remember when Sherry, you talked about like a lot of auditions, like from the very first get-go. Obviously, we're just like, obviously, that whole like bear, like with the jaws that shit on a Baron Davis, like that whole thing. That was their day one. That was all Sherry Coleman.
I did that in the Zoom audition. But look, no teeth, not as big. I did that in the Zoom audition.
And we were all shook by how big your mouth was. We were like, this has to go in the movie.
I have a lot of teeth. You can't see. It goes all the way down the throat.
All the way
Yeah.
back to your throat. Yeah.
Yo, you guys are so funny. Like all the actors on set was funny. The writers, the director, you guys are all funny. Like there's two professional comedians on too. Like you, Sherry and Sabrina. And I heard there's a lot of improv on the set too. And with the Bop It, that's one of them. And what was it like on set for this plethora of hilarious people? Like all of you working on set.
I'm gonna set it up with saying like it was terrifying for me because you plan everything out. You're just like, they're gonna stand here. We're gonna put the cameras. It's gonna be right. And then suddenly they come on and we have these writers in this tent coming out with all these amazing, insane jokes, and you're like, holy shit, this just like takes on a whole life of its own. And those were absolutely the best, most magical parts of the movie. Like the things that were found on set and when they were just playing with each other.
Yeah.
We did play with each other all the time.
Delicious.
We got a lot of credit for some of the amazing things the actors came up with themselves. You know, like we put them in situations, but so many of the funniest lines in the movie are really things that you guguys just discovered, like the Bop It line, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter run. Hagrid.
Hagrid.
That
Hagrid killed me.
We all lost it at that point because I was like, "What's another character? What's another character?" And I was like, "Hagrid."
We all lost.
We did one take of that too.
They kept it. They kept it.
Yeah.
There are so many versions that sadly you guys will never see. There are like 8 or 9 different like joke alts for every single spot. We could string them all together and have like the longest, most awesome B-roll because every single thing was like there were so many options. There were just options everywhere. We had to cut it down.
For those who are suspicious if Lolo and Kat if their anger towards each other is embedded with sexual tension, it is.
Confirmed.
There is a deleted
Confirm
scene.
that rumor.
If you have a DVD player and you want a DVD, it's gonna be on that. And that whole scene, we do mourn.
I'm devastated that this scene got deleted, but it will be in the bonus extras, and it really leans into that sexual tension. I mean, the slap scene, that is foreplay.
People pick up on it, which
Oh, for
I
sure.
feel really proud of.
No, there's fan fiction that I'm writing. On my Tumblr, I'll link it later. But yeah, it was just so much fun playing with each other. Once again, because the script was already so brilliant, you know, and they really trusted us, we could just find magic in the heat of the moment, and we couldn't stop laughing. I mean, I can tell you each time we were cracking up. I can tell in my face that I'm laughing when Stephanie is in the blue hoodie and she's hysterically crying, and I can't keep it together. We were just like enjoying the fuck out of each other. It was really cool.
Well, always have to talk about this because, you know, as an Asian woman in the industry, I get tired of being asked, hey, please ask about representation. And like, I know you guys get asked it all the time, but you know, we know it's important because it's still relevant. But the great thing about the movie is, yes, it has representation, but it's a universal story and it's a universal message that's relatable in all fronts and back. But we can't deny that, you know, it's satisfying watching 4 Asian people, you know, 3 women and 1 non-binary Asian, just shooting the shit in the big screen, you know? And, you know, for all of you, what has been an aha moment for you that this is bigger than than just a fun film to watch?
Sherry likes to say that we are funny first, Asian second. And there definitely was a moment during our press junket where I was like, yo, if one person asks me again what it feels like to be Asian, I don't know. I don't know what I'll say. I don't know how it feels. I wake up every morning and it's like this. But, you know, in the same token, like, when The Hangover was made, nobody was like, so what does this movie mean to you? You know? And I think it is really complicated. I think what makes this film really special is that it's touching upon all these cultural specifics that are hilarious, that we've never seen before, that we get to celebrate and laugh at us in a way that is reclaiming our culture, our sexuality, in a way that is undoubtedly first of its kind, worthy, important, and significant. We've never seen something like this. Just an excuse to be unhinged and kind of like completely break the model minority myth, you know, just by being ridiculous and sloppy and messy and imperfect. But yeah! So I think even just by seeing it, that is just creating a more dynamic conversation in how we're perceived, and that in and of itself is enough, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, with this film, it's so funny. And it's just so funny, and everyone's so sexy in it, and it just tens. But, you know, we're just proving that, like, we are not a monolith in the fact that the 4 leads that happen to be Asian, like, the Asian, like, cultural specifics are just a plus, you know, because it really is so relatable, and we hope that all these, you know, the 4 characters, like, because we're so different, we hope that it has the impact of, like, you know, when people watch Sex and the City, you say, like, oh, I'm such a Samantha, or I'm such a Charlotte. Like, people are gonna walk away saying, oh, I'm such a Deadeye, I'm so Audrey, because we really are that relatable outside of the Asianness, you know? So this is really for everyone.
No, yeah. Teresa.
No.
No, that was alright. No, you don't need
I actually really think that they said it all, but I want to say, like, when we were writing the script, we didn't think about, like, oh, we're doing this for representation's sake. We were never like, we need to do this to show us that we're, like, breaking the model minority myth or anything like that. We were just like, we want to write a story that we would wanted to see when we were growing up, and we're a little bit gross. And this is the story that we came up with. So it was always with the intention of just, we want to do something fun. And we're really glad that it's touching people in the community, that they see themselves in this way. Because apparently people are gross. As well.
Representation of the gross community matters. And that's what we were going
You know, Asian American Girl Club,